Hey you guys, welcome back to Michael Clarda Arts. Man, 'tis the season to do reviews and examination of new technology. I've been doing a lot of technology reviews lately. Of course, in my private illustration business that I've been doing for just about 25 years. You guys, if you visit my channel or if you're a regular, know that I am a professional illustrator and toy designer. And that is balanced with doing videos and reviews for the channel, as well as tutorials and drawing to help inspire you as creatives. And one of those things that really helps me be inspired is the invention of quote-unquote new or improved technology. The wonderful people at Huion, you guys know that I love Huion. I've done quite a few reviews for them, from their standalone peripheral tablets to quite a few of their display tablets. Huion is really a company that I think caters to not only the hobbyist, but also the professional. And as time progresses, Huion is literally improving their technology exponentially. You know, I've done reviews for Sense Labs recently, as well as XP Pen. I've done Yugi in the past. I've done Gnomon. So I have a really good handle on what makes a quote-unquote good tablet and drawing experience. And today, we're going to be reviewing the Kamvas Pro 19. This particular tablet is unique, and I think I say that not only based upon the box, but I went on their website and started kind of reviewing exactly what makes this quote-unquote a pro machine, because whenever you put pro next to it, my eyebrow, if I can do the eyebrow, if anybody else can do that, you know, you do the super eyebrow with the look, you know, it goes, pro machine. And that really intrigues me, because if you put pro next to something, it's got to have a different level of quality. I talked about that in quite a few of the reviews recently. Quality is one of those things that is improving in a myriad of different ways over the gamut of all the companies, but Huion tends to do things a little bit better. So what is the Kamvas Pro 19? It is one of their new display tablets. You know that they have a myriad of tablets from, gosh, 14, I think 13. I think they have a 10. Let's go ahead and look. Oh, man, they have a 27. They have a 16. They have a 13. They have a 24 4K. And now the Kamvas Pro 19 kind of slides in there for those of you who need portability. You need that professional feeling as well as performance. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do an unboxing, and I'm going to talk about some of the features that this particular tablet has. Little hint, it's touch enabled, which I've had a couple tablets that have been touch enabled, and it's been hit or miss. So I'm anxious to see. This is also a 4K tablet, and it's got etched glass, as well as their Pentec 4.0 that has over 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. So let's go ahead and get started with review of the Kamvas Pro, the Huion Kamvas Pro 19. And here is the Huion Kamvas Pro 19 with Pentec 4.0, 4K Ultra HD Creative Pen Display. Very, very nice artwork on the box. I think they've really nailed it in terms of professional. It seems that whenever you put a professional connotation to something, they kind of throw out the kitschy, fun character art that goes on the boxes, because that tends to attract people that, I don't know. I mean, I like artwork on boxes, but at the end of the day, whenever you put it in a paper box, it's no frills. They're really focusing on the product itself. Look at the back, and it's got all the details that you need from the Pentec in explaining what it is, what makes it different. They are putting chips in these things now, and it takes about 3 grams of force, which is an incredibly small amount of force to activate the pen. Then you move on to the low sparkle anti-glare etched glass, which is nice. And you have heard that terminology parallax in the past. So parallax is basically the distance between your pen and the cursor. And typically that happens when you have a screen that is over an LCD and you have a distance there. What they do now is they bond it basically to the LCD screen, so there is no parallax. And then whenever you have that anti-glare, you're not going to deal with some of the things in a studio environment, such as fluorescent lights or stuff like that. Dual pen and dual touch. It is equipped with 2 pins. So you have normal and slim pins, and both have eraser functions, which is really nice. And it supports touch. So we're going to see how that fares. Now, typically I do testing of these tablets on both PC and Mac environments. We'll see how the Mac goes, because even though it does have a touch support in there, for situations like this, it does act a little erratic sometimes depending on the manufacturer of the tablet. PCs have no issue. Color gamut coverage. It's got a high color gamut LED lamp, and it's got a wide volume and stunning display for Adobe RGB, DCI, P3, and sRGB. So it covers those three gamuts. Of course, 4K as mentioned, ultra high definition with a sharper display. Now they've got something called, what is it called here? Canvas display. Clear, sharper display effect, helping users to create high quality works better and more efficiently. So whenever you pair low sparkle anti-glare with a 4K screen, a lot of times that anti-glare will kind of not dumb down, how do I put it? Make the screen less crisp. So we're going to see how that fares. And then it's got a factory color calibration from the factory. So enough talking, let's go ahead and look at the display in its native environment box. So what I'm seeing immediately is something that a lot of the tablet companies are doing now, which is this really high-end quote-unquote styrofoam. This is not styrofoam. This is like a poly-injected foam that is like a rubber, and this really gives you a high perception of value, because typically normal styrofoam, it makes a bunch of sound, but this does not, and it doesn't have those little white flecks that happen everywhere. And this looks like it's water jet cut or even heat cut, which is really nice. Here's the tablet itself. We're going to go ahead and put that off to the side briefly. Here is, wow. I love whenever they do stuff like this. So this is obviously it's black, but it's got a calibration report, and it's printed in a tonal ink, which is nice. So they're including a calibration report similar to some of the other companies that are doing this. Serial number of the unit itself, description of what the unit is, and then they go through the color temperature, the gamut curve, sRGB, and the device that they use to quote-unquote calibrate the display. I think this is great because it shows a different level and an extra level of importance as it pertains to the user and how this is a quote-unquote professional machine. Now, what I don't see is something like a Pantone certification or a skin certification or anything like that. But whenever you do have Adobe RGB or sRGB, then you're going to get a nice rounding as far as color saturation for your work. So obviously they show all the gamma curves being very linear. They show where the color gamut is in the overall sRGB. So you're going to get a lot of what you need whenever you do your work. So I'll put this to the side. They don't have to include stuff like this, but it's nice that they do because it shows that they actually care. And here is the setup card, which I love. I love whenever they do stuff like this. It simplifies everything and makes it very easy for me as a user. Not only do they do things in different languages, but they give picture reference to exactly what you need to do in pretty much any situation. Here's a list of the items that you get, from the 2 pins to what looks like power supply, and then the cables. You get a tri-cable and 2 USB-Cs. Then it shows you different setups. So hooking up to a laptop or hooking up to a traditional desktop. Then it shows you the appearance as far as maybe you want to hook some headphones in there. Maybe you want to put a dongle in there. If you have a quick key remote, so on and so forth. Very, very cool. And what's really nice too is it's got a built-in stand. Now I can't see if it's got a VESA. I'll have to check that out. A VESA mount, because this is a 19-inch, and typically whenever you breach that 15-inch size, they do include a VESA mount hole on the back of the unit. We'll see if that is prevalent, or not prevalent, it is present on this machine. Here is the pen case, which we'll look at as well, and they show you how to replace the nib. This is very handy, and if you have any issues, obviously they have the QC, or not QC, the codes that you can scan with your mobile device, and it will take you to the Huion website or possibly Facebook to watch videos if you have issues. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. Here are the cables, as mentioned. This looks like a USB-C power cable. This is a data cable, a visual. So this is one that's probably going to plug into this right here. So you put red and then black. So these two will probably be the ones that I use because I use a PC that has USB-C only. And it's very important to note too the quality of the cables, because not all cables are made the same. You may know that USB-C cables, some have capability for power charging and limited data transfer, and some are video as well as 4K, and they support data and charging. So again, the cables are very nice. They did not chintz on the cables as far as quality. And then let's go ahead and open this. One of the things I always like to see if this is a branded Dongguan. Okay, Dongguan Rahang Electronics Technology. That might be the parent company, but I do like that they tampo print everything. That shows the UKCA notification. And let me see what voltage it is. Fast charge. Input 120 to 240. I'm sorry, 100 to 240, which is typical over here in the States. Output 5 volts to. Okay. Anyway, I can't read that because it's so daggum small. It doesn't look like they have any power conversion plugs, which is what you would need if this goes over to Europe, but this is probably just States, and it has the standard 2-prong. And here is the lovely 3-prong cable. Every time I see one of these things, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so big. But this is if you have a desktop or a machine that has typically a video card, because I believe, yep, it has an HDMI. So some computers, believe it or not, will not output 4K using the USB-C cable. I believe my Macintosh will support 4K if it's on HDMI. So just remember that. If you're having issues with scaling, if you're having issues with output resolution, please read the documentation of your computer, because some computers will only support 4K over HDMI. So that is something you need to plug into your brain. Okay, here is the, oh, they include a quick key remote. Yay! Oh, I love these things. The Huion quick key remote is one of my favorite faves. It's very well done. I've used it quite a few. I've got like 3 or 4 of these. And you guys know that I love, let me see if they've improved it. Oh, wow, they have. So they've got, again, pre-programs. Whenever you open up the window for the driver, they probably have pre-programmed stuff, and you can go in and change that as needed for each particular program, which is really cool. And they auto launch whenever you launch the program. So if you program one for Photoshop, you program Photoshop, then you have quick keys, and you program Illustrator, you have quick keys, so on and so forth, and it will auto detect. And this is rechargeable, which is awesome, so I don't have to worry about batteries. Here is the USB-C cable for charging. Again, I want you to look. So I referenced that just a minute ago. This is a charge cable. This is a data cable. You can see the difference. Both USB-C. One has a standard USB for going plugging into the wall charger. I'm sure most of us have some type of wall charger these days that you can plug into the wall. I know I do. And then this goes into the unit here up top, plugs in. Now, typically they charge these from the factory. Let me see if I can find the button. It should come on. Yep. Goes into pairing mode right there. I just press the side button and it's in pairing mode right now. So if it doesn't detect, it'll auto shut off. And it auto shuts off after a period of time as well. So we'll put this to the side really quick. Okay. And we'll get to the other items here in just a moment, but I wanted to open the pen box. Now, this pen box is a little bit different. It looks like it's acting as a stand. So in the past, they've had what's called the puck. The puck, it looks like a little donut, which of course I love donuts. So every time I see it, I'm like, I want a donut. But that basically you would twist it and open it up, and it had all the pin nibs on the inside, and it acted as a stand. This is really nice because it looks like you can put this on your desk. It's got rubber stoppadoos. There's the pin nib remover, and you can place your pins in here. So that's really nice, very inventive, very clever. I always like to see if it is magnetic, which it is. Case is very high quality plastic, and it's kind of got a translucency to it. So you can almost see inside of it, but not really. And the pins are glorious. Look at how beautiful they are. And I can safely say that Huion makes some of the most beautiful pins in the current marketplace. Now, what I do see, they do include pin nib replacements. These are felt tips. Did they actually put a felt tip? From the factory, they put a felt tip in there. That is wild. I think they did. It looks like it. So basically, are they both felt? No. This one is plastic or whatever material they use. This one is felt. So I don't like felt tips. I draw very fast and a little bit harder than your average Joe, and they tend to wear out pretty quickly. Now, I could, of course, try it for this particular test, and we'll see. All rubberized, very nice, and they are eraser equipped. And this is a try button, 3 buttons, and that's the quote-unquote normal pin. And this is the thin pin, depending on your preference. Both pair flawlessly, and these are batteryless technology, EMR, electromagnetic resonance. So whenever you bring it close to the surface of the tablet, they will activate. And here is the 2 button. These, of course, are programmable. And if you look at form factor, and I like to do this just because it's me, I love the taper of the barrel. You guys know that I love a good taper, because whenever you abbreviate it too much, and I go to actually put it on its side and shade, a lot of times that will interfere with the screen if it goes past 60 degrees. And I do that quite a bit. And because I'm in the zone and I want to draw. But the reality is this is a nice taper of the barrel as well as that one. Very, very, very cool. So let's go ahead and see what else we have in the goodie bag here. Here's a glove. I'm not going to dance for you as other YouTubers do. And this is interesting. Fascinating. A lot of places will just throw the cloth in. This is in a lint-free, looks like a sealed bag, which is interesting because they want you to take care of your screen, and it's very soft. That's a different material, and it's got a little bit of cushion to it, and it is branded. So I love that. So let's go ahead and get the actual tablet and look at that. And here is the Kamvas Pro 19 4K with touch in its lovely cozy bag. I'm sure this is static free. Protecting it in trouble. Oh, there's the VESA mount. That's what I was talking about. So for those of you who work in a studio or have a VESA mount, this is very important because then you can mount it and you can use the swing arm and you don't have to use these. Now, it's nice that these are included. Those look like speakers. Again, very, very cool that it does that. Yeah, or no, those don't look like speakers. Those are heat vents. Those look like heat vents. My apologies for that. Here is the I/O. Looks like 2 USB-Cs and a headphone jack. And over here, it just has, looks like a handle. So whenever you want to move it around, you would grip it like this and move it up and down. So, angle with the stand activated is really nice. I do have a light above it. So let's go ahead and do this. Beautiful screen so far, and it is, let me see this. That is metal. That is a metal back. And it does have rubber stops right here. Again, metal, I say I'm surprised because a lot of them have plastic for weight, but this is metal, and it's not that thick, and it's not that heavy. Now, in terms of quality, a lot of us equate heaviness to good quality. This is a good balance, and it does have metal on the edge. Again, so nice. And here's that branding at the bottom. Very, very, very nice. Very happy with this. So let's go ahead and get it hooked up and get everything set up. Now, I typically use these, but for this particular test, I will be putting it on a laptop stand just for posterity. Here is the power, it looks like the power right here. And this, I'm not sure what this is. Maybe a lock, so you don't hit that button. So we'll find out what that is. But let's go ahead and get started with review of the Kamvas Pro 19. And here I am on the Huion website. So you can see, if you're interested in getting a little bit more information pertaining to this particular device, go on huion.com and click on products. Click on the Kamvas Pro 19. That'll take you to their product direct page, which you can get a little bit more information. Watch a video or two, shows you the actual diagonal measurement of the display, and you can really familiarize yourself with exactly what this is. You can see that I'm using touch. Now, if you don't want to use touch, you don't have to open the driver. And frankly, I haven't even installed the driver yet. So that little slide button up here, the slider up here, now the touch doesn't work. So if you don't want touch, you don't have to mess with the driver. Just go in and slide that little slider up here. I'm going to keep touch on for now, but you can see the comparison FHD versus UHD ultra high definition. This is ultra high definition, 3840 by 2160 resolution, 18.4 inch diagonal, 4K display, lightweight at 2 kilograms. Slim body at 2.1 centimeters, and it shows you that all important gamut certification, 99% sRGB, 96% Adobe RGB. The colors, and you can get some of the pen tech. I think it's important that you guys do this. If you're interested in this device, definitely go to huion.com, and you can go through and you can see the specific specifications from the screen to the appearance, to the size, to the weight, all the technical specs, pen resolution at 580 LPI at 16,384 levels of pressure sensitivity, 10 millimeter sensing height, so 10 millimeters from the surface, the pen will activate. And as far as power consumption, so on and so forth, OS compatibility, Linux, Android, Mac OS 10, 12 or later, or Windows 10. I believe I'm running Windows 11 currently. And I will go ahead and let's go to download. And the download center for the Kamvas Pro 19 Windows driver. Let's go ahead and download. Installing Huion tablet. Now we get to open the pens. Woo! So we're going to open the pens. And we're going to try it now. And the pen is activated. So a lot of times we as users get impatient. So definitely whenever you install the driver, my recommendation is completely restart the machine. Make sure the driver initiates and installs in all the programs. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to restart the machine. Okay, so we've restarted, and I'm going to go ahead and replace that little felt nib because I am not a felt nib guy. I've tried different nibs in the past, and honestly, the felt nibs never have done it for me. Yeah, much better, much better. Really good quality screen. I'm not getting a lot of glare. I'm not getting pretty much a lot of anything as it pertains to what I would refer to as anomalous things. Obviously, PCs are a little bit different than Macs. Macs typically you start up and go. But PCs take a hot minute. Obviously, that's exactly what's happening here. My PC is taking a hot minute to do things. And there's the Huion driver right there. Sometimes it takes just a minute, especially if you haven't used your PC for a while. What I am seeing, though, is fingerprints. I'm seeing some fingerprints here and there. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, probably, no, that's weird. So I'm not getting fingerprints when I do this. So let's go ahead and choke this back a little bit so we get a little bit better. Here we go. So it's not so glary in my face because this light that I'm using is really bright, and I don't care what kind of anti-glare you have. If this is shining, you will get glare. This has glare pretty much anywhere. So that just goes to show you how good the screen is. So I just looked, and I'm used to this having what I refer to as a dongle. You would plug the dongle into the host device, you would press the pairing, and then it would automatically pair. So one of the things that is interesting is this does not have a dongle. It says install the driver. This is the user manual for the quick key remote. Quick start guide. Turn it on. Hold all 4 buttons for 3 seconds. Okay, it does wired access mode as well as Bluetooth connection mode. So we're going to use Bluetooth connection because, I mean, why would I use a wire, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Obviously, I will be adding programs, but the driver is really nice. You can go in and you can change calibration, monitor calibration. I can tell you right now from the factory, it is slightly off to the left. But here's the deal. So whenever you draw, you don't draw obviously like this. You can adjust offsets. You can do whatever you want as far as setting things up. What I really like though is the hand rejection is really good. Typically I get false positives. We're going to see that here in a minute. I usually do a calibration, but whenever I do it to the left, like a normal drawing position, it is exactly where it needs to be. So it's been pre-calibrated, which I love. I haven't added the key dial yet, but we're going to go ahead and do that. Let's see how hard it is. Okay, and I'm going to press these 4 buttons. Okay, so I went into the preferences and the settings here. I'm going to go ahead, since this is blinking, I said add a device. I click key dial mini 933. Stops blinking. And my device is ready to go. So let's make sure it shows up in the driver. And there it is. I love this. Now, the dongle was fine, but this is better. So yeah, this is really cool. We're going to go ahead and do our customizations. Oops. There's that touch. The customizations. Now, again, if you don't want touch, they've got that slider up here that you can basically click, and then you won't have any touch. But I'm going to go ahead and keep touch on. Let's go to the canvas. Okay, settings, display settings. So the brightness. Now, whenever I first started it up, in comparison to my Surface device, I noticed that it was a little dim. Now, currently we're at 50%, so let's go ahead and jack that up just slightly. Probably 75%. Color space, we're at sRGB. If we go to Adobe RGB, we're going to get better saturation, and that's what my Surface is currently. Okay, Little note here for you guys that are worried about all your settings. Like, say you've got 15 programs in here and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got to reset my computer. Oh my gosh, whatever. So what you can do is you can go ahead. Let's say I've got 15 programs in here. I've gone in and spent 15, 20 minutes calibrating everything. If I want to keep those settings, cancel, I can hit export. It will export all my current settings to the desktop as a file. And whenever I go ahead and do any updates, driver updates, if I have an issue, I can go ahead and access that file and import it. Let's say I've done that. Now I import, cancel, import configuration file. Yes, and I can select a file and go ahead and reset all my settings. And that'll apply not only to the screen itself, but also the key dial, which is really essential because programming all these buttons, it does take a hot minute, especially if you have like 10 programs, 5 programs. You could spend a good hot 35 to 40 minutes, and that's time you don't want to have to do over again. Okay, and you can take that configuration file and you can export it and you can mail it to yourself. You can have it as a backup. And if you want to transfer your key dial to another computer, then you'll have that configuration file, which is awesome. So let's go ahead. Got the brightness, color, temperature. Okay. Pretty happy with all that. Now, as far as the touch goes, I love it. I love having touch. I use touch all the time. And obviously, once I start using Photoshop, which is what we're going to be drawing in today, I'm hoping that it's not going to be an issue with palm rejection. I have had issues with Surface with palm rejection in the past, but we're going to see how the Huion performs. So let's go ahead and get started with the drawing review. And here we are reviewing the Huion Kamvas Pro 19. So typically in this scenario, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with a simple line test for you guys. I do currently have touch enabled, so you can see that palm rejection is really good. And of course the glove they provided helps enormously with that. I'm running Windows 11, I believe, in this particular iteration. So line test. So typically, Let's go ahead and turn smoothing off. I do not like smoothing at all because it tends to deaden the feeling I have with the stroke. So let's go ahead. I use a textured brush for this. We're going to go ahead and zoom in so you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. Pressure curve is really good. Pen's very sensitive. Dip in is really good, meaning the sensitivity, I believe they said less than 10 millimeters or 10 millimeters from the surfaces whenever it activates, which is wonderful. Diagonal. Pressure curve is really good. Okay, that's my fault. I touched the side button here. Horizontal lines. Where typically you have issues is on diagonal lines. And with the EMR technology and the high-end tablets that are coming out now, I don't really see what I used to see, which is, I'll give you an example of what I used to see. Whenever I did a diagonal, I used to see stuff like this, and you would see little hills and valleys that had to do with the digitizer. But we're not going to really get any of that anymore because of the wonderful pen tech. Now they're saying pen tech 4.0, which is over 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity. And when you have the LCD screen in the bottom bonded to the glass surface on top, then, excuse me, then you're not going to get parallax. Now, any kind of, like if you watch, you see how the cursor kind of goes behind slightly right there. A lot of that has to do with the size of the brush, the texture of the brush. It also has to do with the computer. The computer that I'm using today is a Surface Laptop Studio, 16 gigs of RAM. I believe it's the 12th or 13th generation i7 processor. I believe somewhere around there. I'm not really sure. It's about 2.5 years old. But overall, I think the drawing experience is exactly what I would expect at this particular price point for this device with all of these features. Now, one of the things that, see, I draw really fast, and especially when it comes to palm rejection. So I'll be drawing, and maybe, boom, there might be something like that. That would be a false positive. So far, I have not had, I'm paying attention too. I have not had any false positives with this device as of yet. Now, we're going to keep putting it through its paces. Now, I'm just doing doodles right now so you guys can see the responsiveness of the pen with the stroke. It's very good. What I like too about Huion pens is their rubber. It's not shiny or sticky. It's got a nice sheen to it, but also it doesn't stick to your fingers after long usage. And I like the accents as well on the pen that really kind of showcase the fit and finish of the quality of the device. So let's go ahead. What I'm doing right now is just having a little bit of warm-up fun. We're going to be doing a sketch here in a moment, but I just wanted to kind of go through as far as a line test. Now, shoestringing. Shoestringing is important. Let's go ahead and turn off the pressure. So we're going to get a full saturated stroke. Shoestringing, now look, see, we're looking for something like, it would be really good, and then it'd be like that. That is a shoestring. So I did that on purpose. So shoestringing typically happens at the end of the stroke when the pressure curve falls off really fast, as you see, and I don't have any smoothing on right now. We're getting nice, even strokes. Yeah, I mean, you can't, literally, if you look at this right here, you can't get any better than this. Great lead in, good saturation, nice, even taper all the way from start to finish. And I didn't do it just once. I did it, 8 times? 4, 8, yeah. So as you can see, the Huion algorithm and their pen tech is wonderful. So we're going to turn pressure back on. So then we're going to do what I like to refer to as the super light test. Meaning, what is the absolute minimum? We're going to go general brush. Hard round pressure, opacity, and flow. What is the absolute minimum that this particular device will sense? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to show you. We're going to turn taper off. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked. Actually. You're seeing this just as I'm seeing it. Okay, so I'm just going to do a normal stroke. Normal stroke. Beautiful lead in, beautiful exit. Now we're going to go and we're just going to use the pressure of the pen. Okay. I don't see really it's just starting to come in. Look at that. Wow. Look at that. I mean, just the pressure curve, the minimal amount of pressure that you can have is pretty astounding. And I'm not getting, oh wow, it is really, guys, it is really, really, really good. And this is just literally me taking the pen and going as light as I can. So this is basically the weight of the pen. You're getting a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead, zoom in. Wow. This goes to show you, yeah, a little bit more, more, and then full saturation. Okay. Yeah, you get really, really good. Okay, so we're going to go watercolor. Let's see if I find my watercolor brushes. Where are they at? There they are. No, that's not watercolor. AF, here we are. Okay. Number 3, where's number 3 at? Watercolor wet brush, 4, 3. Here we go. Yeah, see the particulate matter? Again, such a wonderful really good. Let's go ahead and we'll do a full saturation all the way. A little lighter, a little lighter, a little lighter, lighter. So you can see, even with, I quote, human error, the gradient that you can get with this new and improved Pentec 4.0 is really impressive. Wow. Yeah, that's impressive. So let's go ahead and jack that way up. This is where those 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity are going to come into play. Now, whenever you have a brush this big, it's going to really tax the machine, so maybe it'll explode. Okay, I had to do a little bit of a shuffle there. That brush that I was using, which is a watercolor brush, I made it probably a little bit too large for the machine, and I had to go back and make some adjustments as far as the program goes, because I think I overloaded. And those of you who know Photoshop know that whenever you use really big brushes like that, if you don't have a lot of RAM and a lot of variables, but it has nothing to do with the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on. Tilt. So some of you guys have mentioned that a lot of times I don't do tilt. So let's go ahead and look at tilt, shape dynamics. We're going to go ahead and do the angle, and we're going to do pin tilt. So a lot of times when you see that little thing right there, it indicates that it's not working, but obviously it is. So we're going to go ahead and do tilt. A little bit bigger. Okay. Let's get a brush that actually I can use with tilt. There we go. Sample. Make sure tilt is on. Shape, tilt. tilt. Okay. A lot of these brushes are not designed specifically, quote unquote, for tilt. So I got a really good, like, let's see here, chalk. Here we go. Let's try this one. Okay, so chalk. Tilt. Okay, got taper on. Make sure tilt is on. I don't think it's on. Nope. And tilt. Yeah, so now we're going to get a little bit of a different angle. Let's try this. 22%. And you can see every single time I turn the brush, it'll turn with the top. The top is the center. So here is the normal right here. And then if I want that tilt, you can see it's tilting as per the angle of my arm and pen. So yeah, the tilt works really good. Again, that pressure curve is astounding. It's just really good. Okay, so you notice occasionally you'll see a blink. That is an anomaly that happens on PCs and Windows 11, I believe, with Photoshop. You'll see a blink. It doesn't really happen whenever it's in full screen. And pretty much the only time you'll see that little blink happen, like I'll be working, and you'll see a little bit of a jitter. That is, of course, a Windows Photoshop issue. It has nothing to do with the screen. It has happened now for probably about 4 or 5 years, and they have not fixed it. They being Windows. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the drawing demo. This is just for giggles and to show the tilt feature as well as the brush feature. So let's go back to my normal drawing brush. Yeah, see, I'll give you an example. So here we go. There's the taper right there. As per the long design of the brush, if I go this way, you're going to get a different look as per your strokes. So you can see that taper here, and it gets wide, and it gets wide and thin. See, see that little jitter right there? Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our demo. All right, today for our demo, we're going to be working in Photoshop. Going to be keeping things really simple since it is the holiday season. We're going to start with, you guys know that I love drawing Yetis and Bigfoot. I live up here in the mountains, so obviously Bigfoot is real. He exists. He's up here. But I love doing seasonal stuff with Yetis and Bigfoot in general. So we're going to do just a fun little Christmas illustration of my character, Freddy the Yeti. And he's going to be decorating or putting together a snowman. Best thing to do whenever you start out pieces like this is to work in simple shapes. Yeah, you see that little jitter right there. Simple shapes. Simple shapes really help me understand what I'm doing. Pretty much always. I mean, I work in simple shapes almost all the time, unless I'm doing something really detail-oriented, and I've progressed from simple shapes all the way to the finality of the illustration. But simple shapes really help me keep things simple, keep things right, exactly where they need to be. And overall, I think that for those of you struggling with drawing, first of all, keeping your patience, that's a big deal. But understanding and learning that drawing is really not hard whenever you think about it. I know that I say it is hard because for me, I call it like static. I have a lot of static going on in my brain sometimes. And the static is sometimes really loud, and it's hard for me to focus. And overall, sometimes I have challenges. That's not to say that you guys will or ever do. But for me, building, right? You build the illustration. Some people start out with forms and they can progress, and that's the way they think. For me, I like using all these wispy lines because I like feeling the illustration out. I like building the artwork. And for me, that is the best way that I know to get rid of some of that static that happens whenever I draw. So, Yeti. My Yeti character, his name's Freddy the Yeti. It's been around for a while. I really enjoy drawing him because, first of all, he loves Christmas. But the biggest thing is he's friendly. And for me, that's a big deal because I like drawing happy. Happy and friendly. Now I'm getting into the little bit more of the nuance. Trying to get where his hands are going. Get that pinky around. Okay. Now, obviously, you don't see me getting into the details. This is real rough. And I encourage you to keep things really rough. As you start your drawing. Okay. And then, when you get to that point, you can start refinement. Then you put it on layer transparency, which is what we're going to do. Go ahead and get his. Okay. Yeah. So as you see, as I progress through, you start seeing and getting the understanding of exactly what's going on. He's going to be building a snowman. So let's go ahead. Just going to have one piece of coal over here. And snowman's got his scarf. Okay. And two. Got his arm that comes up. And comes around. Okay, first, yeah, the blinking. Finally, save as. And we're going to do Freddy. But I already have that, which I might. Nope. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah. So let's go ahead. We're going to give him a hat. Okay. Let's see here. Go all the way around. Let's go ahead and do this. It's got to be one of those specially designed hats because he's got horns. And kind of like a toboggan hat. Little known thing. Actually, everybody probably knows I'm just very slow whenever it comes to knowledge, and of the world and whatnot, because I'm not very worldly. But this little poof thing on top of hats was originally designed to alleviate head trauma on ships. So this little soft things that it's at the top of the toboggan, since the ceilings are so low and the boat goes up and down, that little poof thing was designed to help alleviate you smacking your head on top of the ceiling in a boat, a ship. So anyway, little tidbit for you guys. Go ahead and his foot comes forward. All right. Snowman. Come around. So you can hear off to the side, I am using the Huion Quick Key remote. I've already programmed everything in. What I've noticed that I'm so used to using just this block right here. Oops. This block. I've programmed this block, and this block I've kind of, I've got a couple things, but I'm not really used to using these. And I do use the scroll wheel right here to go back and forth for the pen size, and you can scroll up and down and then zoom in and out. You can zoom in and out as well. But what I like to do is I just have that on brush size, and since it is touch, I just do this. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm going to go ahead and start some refinement as far as his character. Now this is again a rough sketch using this device just to show you, again, there is no hang up, there is no shoestringing, there is no any of that. The device is performing exactly the way it is supposed to. Actually, I'm really stoked with the feel of it. It feels really, really good. Some of the other tablets that I use only have 8,192 levels of pressure sensitivity, and a lot of people have kind of said, oh, you're getting into what we refer to as diminishing returns. Once you get up that high to 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, do you really quote-unquote feel it? And as many tablets as I've used, I'm going to say yes. And it has to do with nuance, right? Whenever you're drawing, and you can basically, everything comes down to the tip. And whenever you can feel that brush execute those lines without any hang up or without any kind of delay, that's where that 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity really come in to play. And I'm sure eventually all the tablets will go to that particular level of sensitivity, because honestly, it does make a difference. At first I was like, well, I don't really feel a huge difference, but I do. I've used enough of them now to realize, yeah, it does make a difference. Okay, so he's going to be putting that last piece of coal on, and then maybe I'll have a hat right here. It'll be in the snow, right? Because he's got to have his top hat, because Frosty the Snowman, right? Isn't it Frosty? Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do for you guys is I'm going to put you on a little bit of a ride, meaning a time lapse, and kind of continue refining that face, refining his overall character of what he's doing, and really keep testing the Huion unit. And so far it has been a joy to use. Get a big coal eye there. And his nose is a carrot, of course. Okay. All right, let's get on to the time lapse. So, drawing on the Huion Kamvas Pro 19-inch display tablet, I have done, I can't even number now how many tablet reviews I've done and drawn on these devices. And it all comes down to a few factors that makes a device quote-unquote good. And those factors primarily for me have to do with the drawing experience. If the drawing experience is not something that is conducive to my workflow, then it becomes a hindrance. I always say these tablets and computers all basically inhibit creativity, which they do. And because you have to learn the interfaces, you have to learn a bunch of things. And at the end of the day, if I really wanted to just get rid of that, I just draw on paper and, use markers and paint and whatever. But the Huion Canvas is really intuitive. It's just so smooth. The surface is so smooth. Those pens are really responsive, and the screen is bright enough, but not glary to the point where it hurts my eyes. And I just think it's a pleasure to draw on. Now, I have this on a stand because I have a standing desk, and currently I wasn't utilizing the little pegs on the back, but it is nice they come with them. And overall, I give this a 10 out of 10. It was a great experience. The driver installed really easily. And overall, the fit and finish and the quality just made the experience very, very, very positive. So thumbs up, Huion. And here's where we're going to land with this illustration, doing the demo test drawing for the Huion Kamvas Pro 19-inch 4K touch model with the new 4.0 technology, pen technology. So what did I think overall? First of all, the touch, I was kind of worried about the touch to begin with because I have had such kind of up and down experience with false positives and so many different variables with regards to touch, whether it's wearing a glove, not wearing a glove. It really is one of those things that it's touch and go. But the Huion Kamvas Pro 19 didn't have any issues at all. And what's really good is if there was any issues, there's this little switch up here that I can just turn off and I don't have touch anymore. Now, I wanted to keep touch on through the duration of the entire illustration because that's one of the features that you obviously will pay for whenever you buy this unit. Overall, size is almost perfect. I think since I work on a 24-inch, I'm used to that larger form factor, but the 19 is really in that sweet spot of portability as well as size to be able to look at, reference if I need it, and also be able to draw with large strokes, which is what I do. I typically don't just noodle and draw with my wrist. I'm an arm drawer. And this particular size really leans toward that. Pressure curve, perfect. Again, didn't have any shoelacing, and all the brushes that I utilize over here in Photoshop. This tablet didn't have any problem utilizing with those 16,000 plus levels of pressure sensitivity. The only hang up that I think I may have, and this is really, I'm in the gamut of nitpicking right now, is at this price point, the black border that is around is quite large, and with other tablets really going all the way to the edge, sometimes I have to question why this is still being done. And I actually made this comment recently on my channel, and they said the reason why the border is there is because of the pen technology. You want to be able to have the sensors all the way to the edge, so your pen is sensitive all the way to the edge. And once I learned that, because this is recent, once I learned that, I completely understand why they have these borders now. And honestly, I'm coming at it from a design standpoint, not a, how do I put it, not a technology standpoint. So with regards to that, I totally accept the black borders. And again, that would be a nitpick design thing that I obviously would have. The fit and finish and quality is really good. The glare application is really good. And since this is etched glass, I'm not going to have to worry about the film peeling off or wearing out. And overall, just really good. And again, the pen being 3 buttons, I've programmed all 3, plus the eraser. I don't typically use the eraser anymore because, I can program things in right here with the quick key remote. And this is another plus with this device. It comes with it. And it's not dongle based. It basically pairs with your host machine and integrates seamlessly into your workflow. And you can program this particular device, quick keys, through a myriad of different programs on your device. And it's rechargeable, doesn't require any outside battery insertion. You just use that USB-C port right here to charge. And at the end of the day, this is a great companion for this device. Okay, final wrap-up thoughts on the Huion Kamvas Pro 19. First of all, the price point currently on their site, retail, is $1,099. They have it on sale, saving 20%. And of course, it's a flash sale. They do these flash sales occasionally on their site, especially around holidays. And it is $879. First of all, at $1,099, it is a bargain. And I'm going to tell you why. First of all of the boxes have been checked with regards to display tablets. I've reviewed a lot of tablets, and some of them are average, some of them are good, some of them are really good. And of course, whenever they get really good, then that price point starts going up. This device, I would say, because it does have the Pro name attached to it, you're going to get those Pro features from the PenTech 4.0 to the 4K ultra high definition resolution. You get 2 pens, you get etched glass, you get over 16,000 levels of pressure sensitivity, as well as 10 points of finger touch. That is really cool, you guys. I mean, at $1,000, a professional could use this device for 5, 7, 10 years and be able to reap all of those benefits, as well as that investment versus return. You guys know that I'm a huge investment versus return guy. I had a really good time. It didn't have any hangups. Like I said, the only design hang-up that I had was with regards to that black border around, and I got educated on it. That's one of the things that I look at the design, and I'm thinking a lot of companies are going towards all the way to the edge, and it makes sense that they would have a lot of that technology packed in to where you quote unquote can't see it, but it's necessary, and having those black borders is necessary, and it's not a game changer. I'm just, again, I had to, in my brain, I'm thinking, I don't want to like oversplash the the gushing about the Kamvas Pro 19, because you got to kind of look at it from a different standpoint. But at the end of the day, it definitely is not a quote unquote game changer. And once I knew that it had to do with technology, then I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. Okay, kind of just brush that along the side. And the fact that it comes with a remote, like I said, 2 pins, it's got a metal backing, it's VESA mount ready, it's got a stand built in. They have really covered so many different areas as it pertains to the user. These companies that are developing these products now are really starting to think about the artist and the user and how these products are going to be integrated into your workflow. And they're not just really, I don't want to say they, but Huion's different. I've said that about a lot of companies, but Huion, their quality is really, really good, and they're consistent. Now, do they come out with a ton of tablets every year and attach characters to them and have a ton of colors and do all that other stuff? No. Huion really, they're quietly making tablets and display tablets and doing things for the user and for the professional. And one of the things that I really liked, and I think I mentioned this in a few reviews back, I love a product whenever I don't have issues, whenever I don't have driver issues, whenever I don't have to contact customer service, when I don't have to reinstall the driver, whenever I don't have to do a bunch of stuff to get the device to work, and the device to work just in the time period that I'm going to do the review. Some of the tablets, I just do the review and they go back in the box and they slide into my stack of tablets that is ever growing. But some of them I use daily, and this one is going to get used daily because it's that good. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have any hang-ups. The quality was great. The fact that I did have any hang-ups at all just goes to show you how nitpicky I am now whenever it comes to display tablets. Is it worth your dollars? Yes. Please go visit Huion.com. Find the tablet that works for you. If 19's too big, please choose something smaller. They have different price points. They've got different classifications. There are many options. It's just like shopping for a car. You need to have one that fits your lifestyle. It fits your workflow. It fits who you are as a creator. And this particular device clicked all the boxes for me. So hopefully you liked the review. I covered a lot of area. I like to cover a lot of area. We go deep on this channel because I want to do the review like I would want to have the review done for me. Meaning I want to see unboxing, I want to see contents, I want to see reference, explanation, the reason why, I want to see a demo, I want to see a wrap up, I want to see opinion, I want to hear opinion, all of those things. And hopefully I covered all of those things for you whenever I did this review. So thank you guys for visiting. Again, go visit huion.com to look at the spec sheet too. Sometimes I don't say some of the things that the device has, and that's just because I get a little giddy and excited because I'm all about the drawing, guys. I mean, technical stuff aside, I'm all about the drawing, and if the drawing experience is really good, which this is, I'm pretty good with it. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.